Remember the days when you used to love snow? It would hardly ever come, but when it did, you would always get really excited and you'd be out there building a snowman in no time. I miss those days. Now, when snow comes around, everyone sees the white fluffy hell that it really is. I mean, it's cold, wet, slippery, and it's very irritating when it goes down the back of your neck. All it's good for is getting cars stuck in the road, cancelling travel, and freezing sprouts. And if you don't feel like this, then I'm going to tell you why you should. Past 2 winters that Britain's faced have been so freezing that everything pretty much came to a standstill. No trains, hardly any buses, and all the snowmobiles were sold out. And it's not like we weren't warned. We were cautioned on this. It's our fault we don't listen. Every year the news tries to tell us, by the way, it's going to be really fucking freezing this year. And we always react with, no it won't. I mean, this proves how ignorant we are. Check out what ScotRail says. Extra trains my cold blue arse. We always pay for it in the way that people travel to work and school and they end up getting stuck out there, unable to return home. For example, yesterday I wanted to try going to college because I hadn't been all last week. Now, the trains weren't on, so I had to get the bus instead, and I got on the bus at 7:30, and this bus took me to Monklands Hospital, where I was to get off and wait for a second bus to come along, and when that bus showed up I got on that, and when I got on that, that was me heading towards college. Now, I must have been on that bus for quite a while, until eventually the snow just got worse and worse and we ended up travelling down empty streets at like 15 miles per hour. Then, eventually, the driver just stopped, turned around, and it was like, I'm not going any further, I'm going to have to turn round. Everyone else was like, oh, okay, fine. So we were on our way back to Monklands Hospital, but on the way back the snow just kept on getting worse and worse, until eventually the driver couldn't go down the original planned route and had to find an alternative route. At this point, his instructions were to find a secluded area and ditch the bus. So, if anyone wanted off at any point, they just had to come to the front and say that they wanted off absolutely anywhere. Eventually, I was forced to get off a good 2 miles away from where I live and just walk the rest of the way home. I arrived back in my house at 11:30. And it doesn't end there. On the way back, I text Gillian in hopes that she would tell my lecturer that I couldn't be in today. Then she texts me back saying, I spent £4.45 travelling at 30 centimetres per hour for nothing that day. My stepdad got it worse actually. He left work at about 9:45 in the morning and only got home at 7:15 that night. Plus, he had to ditch the car and walk about 1.5 miles home. But at least we got home. Some drivers were forced to spend the night in their cars on the M8, and at least 100 school kids in South Lanarkshire were made to spend the night in school. Daily Mail readers were furious at this. So what if they slept in their classroom? At least they were warm and safe. Who cares? Okay, maybe they weren't that furious. Big deal, that happened to me when I was 15. Why didn't you publish a story about that? Because the next day I wasn't allowed to go home until the end of the school day. Yeah, well, keep in mind these aren't 15-year-olds, they aren't as independent as you were. So parents can't take pictures of their children on nativity play, but Sky News can take pictures of them sleeping. I suppose he has a point. We have had snow for almost 2 weeks now. No bins emptied, no post apart from my Cliff Richard CD getting delivered at 7 AM on Sunday morning. Do you hear us English whining? No, you don't. My new boots got snow stained on the way back home from the local pub, but I battled on. We are tough in England, get on with it. It's winter, not the end of the world. Actually, considering that about 13 people have died in Britain due to the weather, I wouldn't speak too soon. So Scotland got some snow again. So what? It is winter after all, and how long will it be before they blame the English for it and ask us for yet more financial help? Okay, well, to be fair, I'm not actually blaming the English. I'm blaming the environmentalists because they're the ones that want to combat global warming, and clearly that's not as great an idea as we thought. Even the harvest is suffering because of the weather. Sprouts have been completely frozen because of the current conditions, meaning that there's going to be a shortage. Now, I don't like sprouts, but they are a big part of Christmas. In fact, Christmas is the reason that they were being harvested in the first place. Yes, snow is ruining Christmas. I mean, how do you even expect to do Christmas shopping when you can't leave your home? Really, the only good thing that's came out of all this snow is that everyone has united and has joined together to try and dig cars out of their cold white greys and get things moving again. Apart from that, there's nothing, and I really don't understand how anyone above the age of 12 can possibly like the snow. So yeah, that's it. If, like me, and you don't like the snow, then go outside, find the first big pile of snow you can, and kick it out of rage. Just make sure it isn't a rock first. I'll hopefully have another vlog out soon, but to be honest, I don't really plan on existing for the rest of the week. So yeah, I'll speak to you soon. snow might have brought the earth to a standstill and it might be completely ruining Christmas, but it'll never destroy my festive spirit.